He laughed at her war stories, until she sent him the coordinates of mass graves. She made Commander Zekthara had always prided himself on his tactical superiority. As the youngest fleet commander in the hegemony's history, he commanded respect, through fear and strategic brilliance. His crimson scales gleamed under the artificial lights of the war room as he reviewed intelligence reports on the newest species to join the Galactic Council. Humans. Primitive, he hissed to his aide, Lieutenant Vorash. Look at their weaponry, chemical propellants, metal projectiles. They've barely mastered fusion technology. The holographic display showed various human military configurations. Small bipedal, creatures with laughably simple equipment, compared to the hegemony's plasma cannons and gravitational disruptors. Sir, Vorash ventured carefully, the Council records indicate they've been involved in several conflicts. Conflicts? Zekthara's laugh was a rasping sound that echoed through the chamber. Against whom? Each other? How quaint. We've conquered 17 star systems, Vorash. We've glassed entire worlds. These humans squabble over dirt patches on their single planet. That evening, at the mandatory diplomatic reception aboard the neutral station orbiting Kepler 442b, Zekthara spotted his target. The human delegation sat at a corner table, their representative a small female with graying hair and unremarkable features. Her nameplate read, Colonel Sarah Chen, Earth Defense Force. Zekthara approached with the swagger of someone who had never known defeat. The other species at nearby tables, the crystalline Veltar, the gaseous nebula collectives, watched with barely concealed anticipation. Colonel Chen, Zekthara's universal translator, rendered his words in perfect English. I've been reading about your species' military history. Fascinating fiction. Sarah looked up from her drink, some brown liquid the humans called coffee, and studied him with pale blue eyes. Fiction? Come now. Zekthara settled his massive frame into the reinforced chair across from her. Your wars, playing with chemical explosives and flying machines. The hegemony has been perfecting warfare for millennia. We've reduced civilizations to atomic dust. Sarah's expression didn't change. She took another sip of her coffee. Is that so? Indeed. Why, just last cycle we eliminated the entire Mothran species. 12 billion lives gone in a standard day. Their planet is now a mining operation. He leaned forward conspiratorially. Tell me one of your war stories, human. I could use the entertainment. A strange smile played at the corners of Sarah's mouth. You want a war story? Please, Zekthara gestured magnanimously. Regale me with tales of your primitive conflicts. Sarah was quiet for a long moment, staring into her cup. When she spoke, her voice was soft, almost conversational. I was 19 when the siege of New Geneva began. The enemy had us surrounded for 8 months. No supply drops, no reinforcements. We ate rats, boots, anything we could find. Zekthara snorted. Siege warfare. How medieval. The enemy commander thought like you do. Sarah continued as if he hadn't spoken. Thought we were soft. Thought we'd surrender when things got difficult. She looked directly at Zekthara. He was wrong. I'm sure you fought very courageously, Zekthara said with barely concealed mockery. When they finally breached the walls, I was the only one left in my sector. 63 enemy soldiers came through that gap. I had 2 magazines left for my rifle and a combat knife. Against 63? Surely you surrendered. Sarah's smile grew colder. I killed them all. Zekthara laughed, the sound drawing attention from other tables. All of them? With primitive projectile weapons? My dear human, even I find that difficult to believe. Sarah reached into her jacket and withdrew a small data pad. Her fingers moved across its surface with practiced efficiency. I understand skepticism, Commander. It's healthy. The pad chimed softly. I just transmitted something to your personal communicator. Zekthara's secondary arm reached for his device. His primary eyes remained fixed on Sarah, while his secondary eyes read the incoming data. The coordinates appeared first, followed by satellite imagery timestamps, and then his scales began to pale. Those are the coordinates of the mass grave I dug that day, Sarah said quietly. 63 enemy soldiers. I buried them myself when the siege lifted. The satellite images are from our orbital surveillance network. You can verify the authenticity through your intelligence services. Zekthera's eyes widened as more data streamed in. Battle reports, casualty figures, video footage of a young, human female covered in blood and dirt methodically stacking bodies. The Kepler Rebellion, Sarah continued. The coordinates of the 17,000 enemy dead I'm responsible for are in that file. The Titan mining conflict, 28,000. The corporate wars, 43,812. Her voice never rose above a conversational tone. All verified, all documented, all buried by my own hands when possible. Zekthara's claws clicked nervously against his communicator as more files downloaded. Tactical assessments, after-action reports, citations for valor that read like horror stories. You see, Commander, Sarah said, finishing her coffee. Humans don't wage war the way you do. We don't glass planets from orbit or vaporize populations with superweapons. We get close. We look our enemies in the eyes. We feel their blood on our hands. She stood slowly. And we remember every single one. The reception hall had gone quiet. Every delegation was watching now. 137,409, Sarah said. That's my personal count, Commander. Each one documented. Each one justified under the rules of engagement. Each one necessary. She paused at his shoulder as she walked past. Each one done with these primitive weapons you find so amusing. Zekthara sat frozen as Sarah walked away. His communicator continued to chime with incoming data. Verification codes from multiple intelligence agencies. Corroborating evidence from a dozen different conflicts. Independent confirmation from neutral observers. All of it real. All of it true. Later that night, in his private quarters, Zekthara stared at the complete file. Sarah Chen wasn't even considered exceptional by human military standards. She was simply thorough, professional, efficient. The hegemony had killed billions, yes. But they had done it from a distance, with technology, with the clean separation of orbital bombardment. These human, they killed with their hands. They looked death in the eye and embraced it as a craft to be perfected. For the first time in his military career, Commander Zekthara felt something he had never experienced before. Genuine fear of another species. And somewhere in the depths of his reptilian brain, a new understanding began to form about why the galaxy had been so eager to welcome humanity into the Galactic Council, not as junior partners, but as equals, perhaps even as something more dangerous than that.